The only single thing that was consistent amongst successful relationships was that the man respected the woman. You're right, and I'm sorry.
Hey, it works. 26 years.
Yeah. Well, that's the only advice I have. You're right, and I'm sorry. I feel like being a good father is that you're like a post in the middle of the house.
I got two pieces of advice I'd like to get from you for the audience. One is, what advice do you have for men to be a good husband?
For a man to respect your wife.
Respect your wife.
That the first thing, they did a study on relationships, and they said that one of the few things, probably the only single thing that was consistent amongst successful relationships was that the man respected the woman. I think that because if you respect your wife, and it's ongoing, it's probably something. It's not like you just respect her and then you don't have to respect her. Like it's probably an ongoing thing. I think that sets you up for success in your relationship. And I'm sorry. Say I'm sorry. You're right, and I'm sorry.
Hey, it works. 26 years.
Yeah. Well, that's the only advice I have. You're right, and I'm sorry, and respect her. But I think for us. I think that's our challenge, is to have respect, and then also just and be patient. I've learned to. And I'm not always great at it, but you need to have, women are moving at a different gear than we are. They're moving at a different speed. Their clock's different. Their timing's different. Their whole thing is different. And for us, the way we are, we're so, we have a certain kind of movement, and there is a different movement. They're just moving at a different thing. And I'm learning that. I'm still continuing every day to kind of try to acclimate myself to that different speed, that different movement, it's just a different, they just move at a, I make a joke and I'm like, is it man time or woman time? There's like two different clocks. Like I got my clock and then I got her clock. And is it like, where do the clocks move? And they're not the same. Like 12 o'clock on the man clock could be 12:45 on the woman clock. You don't know.
Yeah. Two different algorithms.
That's right.
Two different.
That's right.
Second piece of advice. You got 3 daughters you're very close with. You guys have a beautiful family dynamic.
Yes, sir.
Fatherhood.
Yeah, it's an evolving thing. If somebody said to me, being a dad, I said, really, I feel like being a good father is that you're like a post in the middle of the house, and you're just holding up the roof, and you're holding on to the beam of the ceiling of the roof, and every once in a while they come in and they kind of touch the post to feel if it's there and if it's steady, and so you're just like this post that holds everything up, and that's, and when you look at the parable of that, like what that represents as for your girls, like that you're just solid and you're a post. And then I am all about, first of all, take advantage of the time, because it's going to go like this. It's going to be gone. And so you just better you're not going to be able to make it up. You're not going to be able to go back and, be there and take them to school, or, every time you get or whatever opportunity you get to be with them, milk it, because it goes beyond fast. Like they just go before you know it, they're adults and they're out the door and you're like, goodbye. And it's like, and you don't get to go back. You don't get to go back and say, hey, wait a second. Can we do those things that we got to do along the way? And so, but they're going to learn, they're going to learn courage from you. They're going to learn, your job is to make them courageous, like to make your girls courageous and to give them self-confidence. Like that's part of what we do, and part of that post and that is that reliability, that makes them secure. It's interesting because I've watched my daughters have a security when they, they'll go out and they'll be able to go out and stay at a friend's house or go out when they're even young, and never would they need to come home really or anything. They had a certain, because they knew home was there. They knew home was safe. They knew home was solid and they could rely on it. And so I think that there's something, but that being that rock, it says be a rock, like be stable, solid there, and then take advantage of it. Because they're gonna be adults, and then you're not gonna go back and say, hey, can we redo that stuff? And yeah, it's the best.
I will personally take that advice.
It's the best.
Thank you.
It's the best.
I am definitely realizing how fast it all goes.
It's a blink of the eye. And it just seems to accelerate even more. It's just like it ramps up, and before you know it, they're just like looking at you in the eye, and then they're a thing, and it's like, then they're in a car, and then they're driving, and then, like my oldest daughter's has a whole life, and, we get to talk to her all the time and see her, but still they're gone. They're just, and you don't get to go back and go make it all up.
Yeah. Is it exciting watching them, when they leave and
Yeah.
watching them grow as humans and adults? And
Well, you know what they say, if you do a really good job, they leave easily. So that's the reward, right? You do a great job and then they just walk out the door. You're like, what the? But you did a good job. If they have a hard time leaving, it means but yeah, and they're all so different too. Each one has a different, it's crazy how they can be so different from two of the same people. Just how does just each one comes out just completely different, and it's just but it is interesting to see the people that they're going to be like. When you watch, I'm like, wow, it's going to be an interesting show. This is a crazy show right now. Like you get to see them kind of, evolve and you go through the thing. I don't think I've ever felt more vulnerable in my life. And I don't think I've never in my life I don't care what situation I've been in, hanging from a cliff. I just never felt the vulnerability that I have with the girls, just because it's not, you have no participation. You have to just watch and you just, I think that's one of the lessons in the process, is that vulnerability. You don't know what vulnerability is until you have a child. And then when you have a daughter, you're just, when mom puts them in the car and then they drive out the driveway, you're just going like, because there they go. And, faith is in the, in their hands, and you have nothing. You're just like, but at the same time, I think that's what brings us that thing. We get that joy from it because of that, because we get that vulnerability.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey everybody, I'm Shawn Ryan. Click here to subscribe to the Shawn Ryan Show YouTube channel for the hottest and most compelling interviews that you will not see anywhere else. I've also made a playlist of all the previous SRS episodes, so they're easy to find. You can find that right here.